Hey,
Ooh.
hello everyone. Welcome to Keanvenient Truth.
Yes. Another amazing episode, I'm sure. It will be.
Another episode. It's like as the weeks go by, we just get more and more stuff to talk about. Things are ramping up.
Yeah.
It's like
It was back to back to back.
back to back to back
I
of
mean,
just ramping.
to the point of like we just put out our other one, it ended up going on like Wednesday or something. I was like, we got to put out another one today. Like the same day.
I mean, we could have easily. Easily.
Yeah. Well, let's just kind of. I mean, what do
Where are we at today? Well, I mean, in terms of what have we been doing, where are we at today? Just to kind of catch up on things.
Went to the racetrack.
Yeah. So
I,
I'm kind of like my energy level is a little like
oh, you want to skip all that?
down. No, I don't want to skip all that. I
Oh.
just have low energy just because we had a back-to-back weekend. So it's like we went to the racetracks and did all that stuff on Friday night, and then Saturday night we went to go see Jerry Seinfeld at Foxwoods, and then that was like a night, and so it's just like back to back of like having some glasses of wine, and then just like I'm tired.
Yeah.
I can't do things like that back to back anymore. Like, I feel
I
like I have
know.
to pick just one night, whether it's a Friday or a Saturday, and then just stick to just that one night because I don't like how I feel.
Yeah. Like our big thing is like once a month it'll be like a UFC night on a Saturday.
Right,
and
right.
then like Friday we just chill and like mentally prep
Prepare for Saturday.
and then Saturday night comes, we blow our load, and then Sunday we rest, and then back to it on Monday.
Back to it on Monday, yeah. And this weekend was like Friday and Saturday. It's too much, too much.
Yeah. Our friend Steve can do that every single day, I think. He just keeps going. He's like four-wheeling today.
Oh my God. However, I did take our kid out to Massachusetts this morning and did like really just great, fun Christmas stuff. And it was great. Dude, I can't speak like that. That's like crazy. Leave me alone. I don't just.
You know what's wrong with that mic is like I just can't. There's no adjusting it. That's it. That's as good as it gets.
Okay, then that's as good as it gets.
Bothers me.
Yeah, let it
Well,
go.
because you talk all over the place. Your face is over here, it's up here, you're there, you're like moving your hands and shit.
Yeah.
You need like a lavalier mic. That's what you need. Maybe I'll get you one of those.
Or what we just need is like to step it up then. And we just need to be those people on the podcast that have like the headset on and then, but then
But
like,
you need that.
well, then I need it.
That's what I just said. The lavalier is a little clip-on. It clips
Oh,
onto your
okay.
shirt.
Yeah.
That way, no matter where you go, it's there.
then
Actually, you're right. You need the headset.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be right there, and it doesn't matter where your mouth is.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look into that.
Yeah.
You'll be the secretary of the show.
That's fine. I kind of like the headset look for some reason. So
All right. Yeah, it's very Tony Robbins-esque.
really, I thought it was just like really 90s with like just like the
Almost like Britney Spears.
Britney
On
Spears.
stage. Yeah.
Really, I was actually like really thinking like 90s hip hop kind of like instead like.
You got a microphone. What are you talking about?
No, but like for like like DJ. I don't know. I just
Oh,
kind of
like you want like the big headphones and shit? No, you don't need. They got like the little one.
Oh no, I like when they wear the big ones.
You want like the video game headphones
Yeah.
with the fucking microphone?
Not with
Done.
the microphone.
You
I
have
see
to have the
people-
microphone.
Well, then how come I see people with the headsets, but then there's no like microphone I see anywhere here, and there's none of this. They're just talking, and it's a professional podcast.
They have headphones on and no microphone. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know where the microphone is, but you can't see it.
All right, show me the podcast because I'm pretty sure you're bullshit. You don't know what you're talking about. There's a microphone somewhere.
Well, listen, there's a difference between bullshitting and I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay,
yes, yeah, that's
bullshitting
what I
would mean
meant.
that I'm purposefully actually making this up, whereas I'm not making this up, but I could be wrong based on
Yeah, no, it doesn't exist. Your best bet is the thin little thing. You don't need to wear the headphones because we're right here. We're not, every once in a while we have somebody come on, but sometimes it's nice if you have somebody on the screen coming in from somewhere else. You can hear them better, but we're right here.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
So yeah, so that was really our weekend. It was just lots of just back to back doing stuff, celebrating birthdays, hanging out with the kids, friends, having fun. Joe got injured. You got injured, and like half of
God.
your tongue fell off.
Show my tongue.
I can't see it. I haven't looked, so I still don't know what it looks like. Nor do I really want to see what it looks like, but
It's like a little chunk cut came off. I had to like pull the chunk off.
oh god, oh god, so crazy.
We're racing in the cars, and then I'm very competitive, so tried passing my friend, and it didn't work out. And then I like hit the side, and then my other buddy hit me from behind, and we went spinning, and I like bit my tongue, and my glasses went falling off, and I like whacked my knee. My knee's super sore right now. I actually really feel like I got into like a car accident.
What's interesting is that I didn't crash my car once. I feel like you guys were really sloppy.
You played it very safe.
I played it safe, but I still did a great job.
Well, I mean, you only did it once.
Yeah, that's all I needed. You guys are like, let's go 5 more times. I'm like, that thing was literally, I was like this, like, boom, boom,
Yo,
boom.
it took us 45 minutes to get to this fucking place at like fucking 6 o'clock at night on a Friday. We sat in traffic, and you're gonna go one fucking time?
First of all, let's be clear. You're the one who booked this also on a Friday night after like...
Steve booked it like that.
Right, but you accepted it,
well,
okay, and without
guy.
really even telling me. And so now I'm like, God, now I gotta go drive somewhere at fucking 4 o'clock on a Friday? Who the hell wants to do that?
Well, I don't think either of us thought about it until
No.
that day.
So my energy level was already like, nah. But I had fun.
Yeah, in both events, we won't get into Jerry Seinfeld. It was nice. It was nice to see him.
It was nice to see Jerry Seinfeld. There's no need
I
to
really don't want to get into it.
We're not going to get into it. There's no need to get into it. The only thing I'll say about it is that I actually enjoyed the show coming from seeing it through the eyes that I was seeing it from. It's not like you're going to a Joe Coy or Kevin Hart or fucking
totally
who's the
different.
other one?
Andrew Schultz.
Andrew Schultz,
Joe
right.
Rogan.
It's not like you're going to one of those big serious ones where like in the beginning before anything happens, the DJ's playing music and you're vibing and the energy's going and they have like 7 people come out before that are hysterical and then you have the fun and then it's like a whole thing. It's like a whole production, Jerry Seinfeld is a good old-fashioned traditional classic comedian.
Yeah.
He literally is just that. And it works for him because it's him. He's a fucking comedian. He's a comic. He doesn't do all the like music and fancy stuff, which I kind of respect. He's just there to basically do what he fucking loves to do. The guy doesn't even have to be doing this.
Really, the main
Which
difference...
is also really cool too. Like he doesn't even have to be like Jerry doesn't have to be touring.
Really, the main difference with Seinfeld's act is it's like bang, bang, bang. He's pushing out. It's like every minute there's a new topic he's talking about.
It's a new bit.
And then boom, he moves on to the next one.
Bit.
Boom, moves on to the next one. With like Joe Coy or Kevin Hart or whatever. They're telling
or even Andrew Schultz. There's like stories.
There's a whole story. Like the whole thing is a story about a part of their lives, and there's little tidbits within there, but it's all encompassed under one umbrella.
Yeah. And they circle back.
Yeah.
And then it always ends with like some shit that they said like in the beginning, and then you're like, yeah, right.
Maybe I just wasn't used to like it's like because we've been going to those like storytelling
seen a comedy
comedians.
show like this is the first time seeing someone as a like to me I think Jerry Seinfeld is like he kind of in my mind he surpasses. I feel like even the Kevin Harts and stuff because he's fucking Seinfeld. I mean, it really is just like he's fucking Seinfeld.
It was like going to like one of those like small comedy clubs and going to go see an opener, but for like an hour because the opener's like trying to like get laughs. He's just trying to like throw things out there, right? And
Well, I also feel like the openers are supposed to be
not to
like
say
the hype
Jerry's
person too,
yeah.
of like making you laugh and doing what they're there to do, but also like getting you more and more energized and more like ready for the main.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing started at 8. Like for other comedy shows, Kevin Hart's show, let's say, or Joe Coy, it starts at 8. We don't get done with that shit until like 11. Like at
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
least
yeah, it
12.
is long. Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld started at 8. We were out at like
It was
9:30.
about an hour, yeah.
Hour and a half, like it
But he
was
did
just.
what was cool at the end, but like nobody asked any like cool questions. But he does take a minute at the end, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, does anybody have any questions about
Yeah,
me
it was
or
nice. He was
whatever?"
talking. Yeah.
Everybody's just like, "Where's Kramer?"
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
fucking,
Like
you got Jerry Seinfeld in front of you. We were like up in the balcony, so he wasn't ever gonna hear us. But
right.
yeah, ask the guy some fucking real questions.
Yeah, I just probably would have asked like, I guess maybe like I just really want to hear what keeps you continuing to stay motivated and passionate
All right,
about what
there
you
you
do
go.
for this long. That's what I would want to know.
Hmm.
I would want to hear something like that because I feel like that would really almost inspire me.
Or somebody could just say, "Why are you doing this?"
Something.
Even that he would elaborate on.
We're thinking too deep,
Yeah.
clearly.
Apparently, he's got like a movie coming out about Pop Tarts.
Pop Tarts?
Did you fall asleep during that part or something?
I was a bit, I had those 2 glasses of wine, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot of wine for some people, okay? But for me, that's a lot. And those 2 glasses of wine, they were not they were heavy pours.
Yeah, you were ramped up
I was ramped.
until yeah, and then after the show, you were like
I went
coming
down.
down. Yeah.
Yeah. I was quiet.
But we got there super early, so we were there like 4 hours before the show. So you had a lot of
I
energy
had
that
a lot of
you were
lot of
using up.
time. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, I didn't even want to talk about it, but
All right.
yeah,
So
busy
yeah.
weekend, and then so yeah, starting like last week, like Thursday into Friday or whatever, we had the first thing that popped off, which everybody's probably heard by now.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Did we is this our first podcast after Thanksgiving or no?
No, the last one was.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry. I was just gonna be like, oh my God, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. All right, good.
way off. Yeah, so the big news was Kanye West
Again.
on InfoWars, and it was wild.
Again. Kanye West again on
Three
InfoWars.
3 hours of woo. Um, I'd like to start off by saying, listen, I personally do not agree with Kanye's approach on all these things, his execution, the words that he chooses to use. But with that being said, I'm also an intelligent human being that can listen to a conversation and understand what somebody is trying to say, even though they're kind of just saying it all awkward and weird and throwing things out there. Like, if you listen to the whole interview in context, you get an understanding. This guy is not a Hitler lover. He is not like wanting harm on anybody, actually. But I can see, if you just listen to a certain little clip of it, how that can easily come off that way.
Well, I don't even think it's about listening to a certain clip of it. I honestly think that there are many people in the world, and I can see it through their eyes as well, that would watch that whole 3 hours and 19 minutes and still leave with the thought of either Kanye is just very mentally ill, they'll probably think, right? Or that he's, I guess, racist, which is weird because I don't think he's at all. But yeah, I think but I can see how people would think that from watching that. Even if he's all over the place. I mean, he really is confusing to listen to if you really aren't like really paying attention. So I get why people think the way that they do about him and feel the way that they do about him. Again, I don't agree as well with his approach or with the way he explains things, which, everyone has a right to explain things in their own little way. I get it.
Mm.
Like everyone's brains are different. I just wouldn't I just feel like we were saying the other night, like if I could like be his translator, like if someone could be his translator and I could literally get paid to just walk around with him and translate everything that he says in the most healthy and assertive way possible,
Yeah.
I would love to have that job. I would crush it, I feel like.
He'll be like, I love Hitler. And you'd be like, hold on, Kanye. What do you mean by that? Do you?
No, I wouldn't. I
No,
wouldn't.
you.
No,
What,
this
what would
is
you say?
this is how it would go.
What would you say?
He'd be like,
We love
he'd
everyone.
he'd be like, I love Hitler, and then continue on with what he said, and then he would stop, and I would come in and I would say, so basically what he's trying to say is that he loves all people. He's trying to not judge people by just certain things that they've done in their life because he's Christian and he takes his religion very seriously and it's very near and dear to him. I think what he is trying to say is that although someone has done something really horrific and did all these like horrific acts, there were still some positive things that they did contribute at one point in time. And he is trying to also acknowledge that. He's just saying that he loves all people. It doesn't matter to him whether they are Hitler or clearly, like a psychopath or whatever it is, right? He can see the good, maybe it sounds like, in certain individuals and still acknowledge that and not let it fade out just because they did something that was also probably not the best.
Right.
Not once did he say I love what Hitler did.
Yeah. And
I just want to be clear, but
I would even take this a step further, and I would assume that this is kind of the path that Kanye is going down mentally about that topic is like, when you and you can attest to this by being a clinician, right? When somebody has hate for someone else, right? That is not it's not harming the person that did the hurtful thing, right? It's actually harming the person that's putting out the hate energy, right? Because that person's did whatever they did, they're living their lives, and you're the one
Oh my
that's
God,
struggling with it.
I just saw your fucking tongue for the first time. That was
Come on.
sorry.
You
That was,
just ruined this. Like,
I'm
this would have
sorry.
been a
I
great
just saw
clip,
it, and the
you know?
inside was like crazy. I'm sorry. Do it again.
Let's just go from the beginning. Okay. Anyways, the when somebody is putting out hate, it's that energy is harming the person that's putting it out there more so than the person that did the hateful thing in the first place, right? Because the person all right, let me have an example here, right? Like, so
I have a great example, but go ahead.
say my best friend, who I've known forever, we're great friends, came up to me and this is an extreme situation, and this is actually how I truly feel, right? Came up to me out of nowhere and was mad about something and shot me in the arm, right? I could be like, fuck you, I can't believe you did this, blah, 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 blah. And then, like, for the rest of my life, fuck that guy. I don't know why the fuck he did that. That was the craziest shit ever. And then never talk to him ever again. I could do that.
Well,
hold on.
On top
Hold
of
on, hold
never
on.
talk to him, though, also just hold a resentment or just
Right.
not talk to him?
Right.
Okay.
Which is also more pain for me,
Yeah.
holding resentment, right? Or I could take it. Obviously, a shot in the arm would fucking hurt. And then I can actually, there's like three scenarios. I could like obviously have a conversation with the guy if he's willing to have a conversation with me because or whatever, and sort it out that way. Or if I even never talk to him again, I could be like, all right, clearly this individual had something going on that day that either maybe it was something I said or whatever it was, but I feel bad for this person, right? Like, I don't want to hold anything against this person. Because what's that doing? It does nothing. All it does is put a negative energy into the world, right? And I'm living with this resentment. I'm like, fuck this. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody could fuck me over at all anytime. Like I'm fucking myself over by being like that, right? And honestly, I feel like the whole world is like that right now. Well, not everybody obviously, but there's
Lots.
a lot of people out there that it's I think it's an emotional thing. But can you speak to that of like go into a little bit of detail of what I'm trying to talk about of like holding in resentment and what potential negative effects that can be in the long run?
Yes.
I know we're kind of going off track a little bit,
Yeah.
but I just think this is a good topic.
Okay.
Just for a little bit. Let's go.
All right. I'm gonna bring it.
We'll come back to
around,
Kanye.
but
We'll come back to Kanye.
well, this is still about him. It's,
Fuck.
fuck. Sorry, that sucks. It's probably the delivery.
Dog's barking.
So basically, what I'm gonna go to, and then I'm gonna wrap it around, is because I have a example that I actually really want to use, which is an example that goes along with what I think Kanye was also trying to stress in his in the podcast on the Infowars. And this is again when he was talking about how he said, "I love Hitler," and this whole entire night. He also talked about how he loves all people. He also talked about how he wants to put love out there versus actual hate. He also talked about that. So there was a something. There was a white female cop, I believe, years ago. I forgot what year this was, but many people I'm sure know about this. White female cop went into the a black man's house.
Oh, she thought it was her own.
She thought it was her own,
Right,
I guess,
right.
right?
Quote, unquote, yeah.
Thought it was her own, shot him on his own fucking couch, right? Killed him, right? All right. So when the trial started, there was one day where the young man who passed, his brother came,
Yes, I
and
remember.
his brother had to go on the stand. His brother, I will never forget this because to me that was the most amazing thing I have ever seen in terms of forgiveness and acceptance. I mean, I've never killed his brother, and literally sat on the stand and looked at that female cop and said, "I do not hate you. I do not hate you. I want you to know that." Was crying. And I know that I think they came from also a very religious household to my understanding. I think they were Christian, but still,
That's
like,
besides the
yeah,
point.
but
It
that's
doesn't
besides the point. Like, it still was probably one of the most amazing things I have ever witnessed any human being really do,
And he just basically forgave her.
he forgave her.
Right.
He basically is like, "I don't hate you. I forgive you." Because in his mind, he's coming from the standpoint of, yes, this happened and this is unfortunate, and obviously I miss my brother, and this is awful. But I think for him, it's also, now your life also has changed, and you're about to sit in prison for however many years as well. And and
It's
then
just like-
and then you've also been taken from, I'm sure, people. But it's like the
He
whole thing's
thought
just
about all that
shitty.
stuff,
I
yeah.
think he thought about all of that and was just kind of like, look, So anyway, so going back to you were talking about in terms of not holding on to resentments and pushing out love versus hate. I think that's what that young man actually showed. How to do that in that moment, right?
Also-
which is not easy at all. I'm not saying it is,
Right.
not easy at all. And I think that going back to, let's say, Kanye, I think that that's some of what he was trying to say in how he was communicating it. Again, he's not the most assertive, healthy,
Eloquent.
I guess, eloquent, yeah, communicator. So it gets people all kind of mixed up. But I didn't hear someone, nor do I see someone who's really loves Hitler or really against
Right.
or hates Jewish people or anything like that. I think it's someone who,
Because he loved Jewish people too, he said. He said, I love
Yeah,
Jewish
I
people.
mean,
I love
I
Hitler.
think
How
it's
can you love
just-
Hitler and Jewish people? That doesn't-
Right.
Right.
It's just how he communicates it. But anyway, so yeah. So that's what I think the whole thing is. But if we hold on to well, if we hold on to resentment, right, slash, let's say anger, because anger's along with that as well, and we harbor that. Now, it might not be on the forefront of your brain,
Right.
right? So,
It could probably do physical harm to you
yeah,
over time as well.
right. So typically, we can have resentment that is conscious resentment, right? That's resentment on the forefront of your brain. You know it, you remember it, it's there, you know? And then we can have resentment that is like subconscious resentment, you know? It's resentment that you don't even know you have because it's deep buried somewhere else. You didn't even realize that shit until maybe like someone said something and called you out or whatever.
Well,
And maybe
because
you were like,
that's
oh, huh, you know,
basically
like
like when somebody like just takes it and just stuffs it down and is
just
like, I'm not gonna think about it.
internalizes,
Right.
stuffs everything,
That's when you get the
compartmentalizes.
physical ailments over
Right.
time, I think,
So then what
from
ends up
cortisol.
happening is all of that subconscious resentment, let's say, I'm going to focus on that first, then I'll go to the conscious resentment. That subconscious resentment that's there that you don't even know fucking exists. Right. So ends up contributing to, well, one, someone's levels of anxiety, someone's levels of depression, someone's levels of anger, which therefore also contributes to someone's behaviors, right? And how they're reacting to certain situations and certain people.
This
Their
is the
reactions,
subconscious side, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
their reactions could look either just really like erratic or can look just like angry or, you know, like just like not, I guess, healthy behaviors, right?
What about even like physical though?
Well, the anxiety. So it's all domino effect, right?
Like
So it's not
ulcers?
like right, but it's still a domino effect. It's not like the resentment in itself that is in the subconscious is. It's the resentment is there, therefore triggering and contributing to a shitload of anxiety and anger and da 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 da. And then that's the stuff, you know, that also manifests itself out
It's
in
just
other ways
layered on
physically.
top of each
Because
other.
if we don't know, anxiety is a huge contributing factor to again heart issues,
Well,
stomach
there's also
issues.
cortisol levels because you're stressed out about the anxiety and thinking
Yeah.
about or not thinking about it, like subconsciously thinking about it. Your body is like stressed out,
Oh,
correct?
completely, because it's
Right.
exhausted. Mind you, you have no idea why.
Which can lower your immune system,
Yeah,
all kinds of fucking shit.
lots,
This is like
lots of things.
scientifically proven, legit shit.
Yeah, lots of things. Again, this I would say is probably like I don't know, like the worst, I guess, if I have to like put a category kind of resentment because you don't even know it's there. And so when it is coming out sideways, manifesting itself in all these other ways, you don't even know why or what's going on because you don't even know that you have a fucking resentment that you've been harboring or sitting on for God knows how long, you know? Versus, let's say, when it's conscious and it's right there and you do, you know, it's like, all right, like at least you're aware of it, you know you have it, so therefore you could address it and work on it, you know, like to get to a point where hopefully you can just kind of let go. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing that you can most likely do today, especially if it was something that happened like God knows how long ago, you know, besides address it within yourself and really now work on it within yourself, right? And then just get to a healthier place so that you're not again holding on to this anger and hate and resentment, and instead you're able to kind of change your perspective. You're able to kind of restructure some thought processes attached to the event. You're able to XYZ, which again obviously leads to like less anxiety and less this, less that, less all the stuff that you just mentioned happening physically and medically to your body, and just a healthier mindset and physical.
So if you are, say, essentially, I guess if an event happens and you're complaining about it, you're at least aware of what the resentment is. You're
You're at
complaining.
least aware. I would
Right.
much rather have someone aware, obviously, than someone who's
Right.
like completely not. Not that I would. Obviously, I'm okay with both, but but I'm saying like in terms of like if I had to pick one, like if I'm like, hey,
Like you,
which one do I want to be? I would much rather want to be the person who's at least conscious of the resentment versus
because they're like a step
you're
beyond the
just a
other
step
person
because the next move after that is now you got to like
do
make a
something about
decision
it.
to do
Yeah.
something about it, right?
Right.
Which some people don't, some
I
people do.
mean, you could even say that people who have decided to, even write Kanye off because of this, because of all the headlines of "I love Hitler" or whatever, and just say, all right, fuck him. He's like crazy. He's stupid. Fucking, fuck him. We don't want to listen to him. It's that's almost a level of like, I don't know if it would be resentment, but it's like, it is a
No, you're
negative
harboring your own
energy.
negative now, right?
Right.
And so now basically what's happening is that people are I guess getting on him because they may think that I guess either he's spewing hate, right, and all this stuff. But then literally this is like individuals like even like my mom, let's say, right? Like she asked me a question the other day and she got wanted to get into this conversation with me and she's like, "Oh, so is that fucking lunatic still married to da 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 da?"
Mm.
And I was like, "Mom, first of all, one, like you don't really know him, neither do I, so let's not call him a lunatic because we honestly don't know anything about him besides what the fuck you read on the news. He's a person who has said some things that I think he said in the wrong fucking way. That's kind of
Mm.
where I'm coming from, like I don't know him, so but then that's what happens. And then the way she said it was so like passionately like that lunatic, that I'm like,
Right.
so but now you're fucking putting out that hate and that negative energy towards someone when you don't.
Right.
So now everyone's doing the same
Right.
shit,
And
guys.
listen, isn't it ironic, right? Because Hitler was a universal person that everybody like sees as like this evil person that did horrible things, right? So then because somebody is actually saying I have love for everyone including Hitler, then everybody's basically giving that same negative energy to someone that's saying, "Hey guys, let's stop this cycle of energy."
Which is what he's trying to say, yes. Which
Right?
which
And,
I believe that's what he's trying to say, but yeah.
right. And ultimately that's what he's trying to say. And now, you know, here we can sit here and analyze it and I yeah, it's like it's the eloquence, it's the execution of the words and
It's
the
just
thought
yeah, it's
process
just
before it. But ultimately, this is why it's good for Kanye to be on these long form podcasts
he has
because
to.
yeah, if he is on like a freaking news thing that's like he's got like 5 minutes, he's fucked. He's fucked because he can't get it all out.
No.
And they're gonna chop that shit up and make him look however. But here's the other thing: like, why? Think about this, people. Why do you think that like media companies or wherever the newspaper or whatever want to just take out that bit and say Kanye loves Hitler? Like they want you people to think a certain way, which
Which is also what Kanye has talked about and mentioned and
right,
put
that's
on
a
blast
whole
out
another
there.
part of
And
it. What he's trying to explain.
he actually also was like, and I'm sure this is probably going to be taken totally out of context and it's going to be da 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 da. He basically actually says everything that ends up happening.
I know he's like
But
literally getting vetted every time he talks. And nobody is giving him any credit for any of it. You know, this Balenciaga thing?
yeah.
He's the one that fucking started this. Now everybody's like banning Balenciaga, oh, whatever. He's the one that brought that shit up that they're fucking using like child pornography and shit like that. He's the one, right? That's just like one thing.
I don't think. What do you mean he's the one? That
He's the
came out
one.
like on
No, yeah, he's the one that first said it out loud anywhere.
like way before Valencia. Yeah, but I don't
Yes,
understand why
months ago.
since months ago. Let's see.
They had that campaign that they never actually put out, but people have leaked photos with the
Leaked photo,
kids
right,
and
right,
like
right.
the
Yeah, yeah,
little teddy bears and shit like that.
yeah. Right.
And he was talking about that. And he was saying like he doesn't want to be affiliated with those types of people anyways, blah blah blah. He
Oh,
didn't
right,
care about the
right, because
deal.
they had dropped. Right. Okay, they had
Right.
dropped him, and yeah, yeah.
So anyways, like that's just like one thing and if you really listen to the guy and you kind of take your emotion out of the situation, he's saying a lot of valid things.
I don't think you have to take him. I mean, 'cause he's also coming from a pretty emotional place. I think that he has emotion in what he's
Well,
saying
right.
too.
That's what I'm saying is like you kind of gotta see through a lot of it, but like you just said, a lot of it is like he's saying the truth. Like it's getting vetted as he fucking speaks, like live,
Yeah,
like all the time.
I just don't. I think a lot, and I think I've said this before in another podcast, probably in season one. I think that for some people, when they're listening to someone else talk, especially if it's someone who has a conflicting or just an opposite way of thinking that's different from what you're used to, or that you don't agree with, or whatever. What'll happen is that person will only pay attention to, like, but so far.
And it's like they're scanning
It's
for
right.
words
It's like
that they want to
they
hear.
only will pay attention, but so far. And then the minute that person, let's say the other person, says something that caters to the narrative that they had in their head about that person, that's the piece that sticks out.
Yep, they don't hear anything
Versus
else.
They don't hear anything else. Versus me, when I watched even just scrolling through that whole interview, and when I watch any of his interviews, I watched the whole thing. First of all, the whole thing. Like, I'm not just going to be like, oh, okay, well, like, I just saw one part and I'm like, oh, basing this on one part. Like, I'll typically watch the whole entire thing, whereas I'm not sure some people can get through the whole thing,
All right.
And I'll watch the whole thing. And yeah, I mean, I too also note the things that are like, she really shouldn't have said that.
Yeah,
I'm not dismissing
yeah,
them. They're
yeah,
there. And
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, yikes, and I'll make that face like, ugh, but then it's like he said, then there's other stuff there that I'm like, okay, let me, like, put this apart, put the pieces together for him, because when he speaks, his words or his sentences are just literally like a bunch of puzzle pieces that are just everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
He doesn't put the puzzle pieces together so that you actually
He
fully
lets everybody else put it
get
together.
He lets you figure out and say, okay, so you put the puzzle pieces together with the information that I just gave you. What happens though is that a lot of people obviously aren't going to put
they pick the puzzle
together
pieces
the
they want
same
out.
way. Right. People aren't going to get the puzzle, this and that. Some
Right.
pieces may be missing. I can't find this. This doesn't go there. And so that's when you get a lot of different, thoughts about what he's saying, but that's.
I had a thought a second ago and I forgot now. Don't remember now. We were talking about puzzle pieces, the puzzle piece thing threw me off, but I agree. He's obviously an interesting character, and you have to listen to it in full context or you're not going to get it. Oh, all right, where was it going? It was about, like, why do people think...
I'm just gonna go, and then if it comes
just
to
keep
you.
going. I don't fucking know.
The other thing that I want, so I guess too, like, I guess there's people out there, because he mentions it in the on the podcast too, where he was just like, I guess, like, you can say that, like, I'm on the spectrum since that's what everyone says or whatever. First of all, let's be clear, like, even if he was on the spectrum, like, so, like, would that, like, change something for people if he was? Like, meaning, like...
Yeah, it seems like it's okay to dismiss if
it
he
actually
is.
came out that he was actually on the spectrum, would that change people's thoughts? Like, is that, like, I don't understand what the trying to... Or if, let's say, he really is bipolar, let's say, does that change people's thought? Like... Is that, like, does that just suddenly excuse for some people, like, what they originally thought? Like, then it's like, oh, well, he's autistic. So, like, I guess that's, now it makes sense, where it's like, well, I mean, first of all, he definitely has, he has no filter, and so that's one of the things that stands out to people. He definitely
Very
has
comparable to Trump, actually, which I can understand now more why he is a Trump
I mean,
supporter,
I see why people would think that he's on the spectrum because of his thought process, and certain, like, I guess what some people can take as, like, obsessiveness with certain things, or heavily focusing or heavily knowledgeable about certain things, and not, like, I can see how people can pick that out and think that. I don't really, I mean, again, I don't know him. I haven't spent a whole day with him, but just from seeing him on podcasts and stuff, I don't really get that. I don't see that like to be diagnosable.
Yeah. So you're like, you would be able to diagnose this guy with bipolar, right? I mean, you obviously would have to, like,
because I don't know him.
All right, so you'd have to, like, sit with him more. Like, from what you see, though, what do you think?
No, I mean,
You just
I
couldn't even do
wouldn't
it.
diagnose him with anything just because, first of all, one, I think that it's reckless as any kind of clinician to diagnose someone that you've never actually
Based on
sat
like
down
watching
with,
on
you've
TV.
never
Yeah, that's
sat down
crazy.
and had an actual conversation with, and have not received their full actual family history, their full this, their full
Right.
that, their full, especially bipolar disorder. That's a pretty
Like you
that's
really got
that's
to go in deep and understand like how they were raised, what their parents were like, what their parents were like,
Yeah, yeah,
even.
yeah. I mean, it's interesting too because a lot of these things could obviously present themselves as something, meaning people could think it's something, but it's not. Like, for example, individuals who are just like incredibly gifted slash geniuses, right? Like just super gifted. A lot of those individuals, I'm sure, have gotten misdiagnosed, and maybe
Mm,
some clinician or someone was like, "Oh, you're on the spectrum" or something like that, without them actually really getting tested for it,
mm-hmm.
because they can seem as though they're on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But they're not. They're just they're so fucking genius and so gifted that what you're saying and what you're doing in your life is makes no sense to them. Like it's not how it's like you're speaking a whole different language and so are they, and they're like, we're just not doing it for each other, like
Could even somebody that like has like maybe a lack of emotions, possibly based on how their mother was or something like that, could that in some cases be beneficial even like for businesses or whatever, just like cutting through the bullshit sometimes, like sometimes there's a lot of like emotional unnecessarily unnecessary things that go on in certain types of conversations, right? And if somebody is like lack of emotion, once again, depending on the situation, like there's a lot of situations where you do need to have some compassion and emotion and understanding and stuff like that. But then there's other times where maybe it's just getting in the way, right? And if somebody was like that and they're just talking and they're seeing through all the like all right, we don't need to talk about like how people are going to feel about this. Let's just do this because they're seeing the big picture in the long run, whatever product or whatever they're doing is going to benefit society or themselves or whatever. They're just like ignoring all these people like, oh, aren't you scared of this? Aren't you worried about this? No, because I have lack of emotion. I don't give a fuck. And we're doing it because logically everything fucking makes sense to me. And it's almost like a like shortcut in certain situations. I'm
well,
saying this
well,
because I think sometimes I
Well, you're
think
saying
like
this
this.
because you're like this, and so therefore it kind of, caters to you and your thought process. I don't think that, I think that it could be a positive in situations like businesses and forming, and like, putting out a business idea and like doing something really amazing in the world, such as
Yeah.
that. But in terms of relationships, it's not the best, no.
Right. But like
And
as far as
relationships is like a big part
but
of the
as far as
world.
like say putting out logical information for people to understand. Like there is no real need. I don't know. I'm just going off the top of the head. We could probably have conversations and maybe find something, but like if
I,
I'm just presenting facts, like logical information that is if people took it in, they could utilize this to their benefit, right? There is no need for me to be like you kind of got to like pussyfoot around if you're going to like cater to people's emotions and thoughts and things like that if you're going to do that, right? That's essentially what he's doing. He's just dropping information. This is what I know. This is what I have,
Right, but the
right?
piece again that I think he is also lacking, which I'm glad you're bringing this up because you also lack this sometimes. It's okay, like I don't know. I'm all about balance. I'm a balanced person, so I'm about using the emotional with the logical,
Right,
and
which
not
is
just
I guess the
kind
best
of
way.
going.
But if you're a quote unquote genius, right? And
You
you're
don't really have the
light
emotional
years
part of the
ahead
brain.
of
Well,
everybody.
for people who are gifted, they struggle to tap into that emotional part of the brain. So they come off sometimes as either robotic or socially awkward or whatever because they do miss that piece.
But could they be light years ahead of everybody because of that lack of emotion?
I don't think in every area of life.
Not in every way. No, I agree. But in like the instance which I just explained,
But I'm still confused as to what that would be. Like what?
precisely what Kanye's trying to do. He's just like, this happened. Here's the documents. This is what happened. Blah 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 blah. Like, I love Hitler. He's just like, it is. I give good energy to every single person. Boom. You figure it out. I know everybody's going to be like, oh, but you can't love it. He's like, fuck, I don't have time for this shit. Moving on to the next.
Yeah. I mean,
That he's just dropping bombs of information.
Let's be clear. Anybody's allowed to
Clearly,
communicate however they want to communicate. It's not like we all have to communicate all the same way. We're not fucking robots. We're not the same people. We don't have the same brains. So whatever. I think that
this is the problem, right?
Well, right. I think he would probably, what he says would be received a little differently in the event that there was a little more emotional part of the brain.
So maybe this
into
is the problem with him, that everybody is like undertone. They don't understand how to explain it. It's a somewhat of a lack of emotion, or not, I don't even emotion, or just compassion, or what would it be? It'd be
I feel like he
tact.
a lack of and it's the expression of, it's like really, so like for example, like when I talk with someone and I'm talking about something that is fact, right?
But it's also
but there's also an emotional piece to it. I make sure that like I don't know, like my tone may change, my body language may change,
right?
Like certain things are different.
Like how would you say you love Hitler?
Well, I'm not going to say that I love Hitler, but I will say it like, so look, I understand that Hitler has done and carried out a lot of just horrific things, and I understand how it's destroyed many people's lives, many families, and it was awful. I get that. And I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that is something that I condone, because I don't. And I feel for every single one of those individuals. What I'm saying, though, is that outside, for just a minute, outside of that piece, that was a huge piece, I get that. I'm not dismissing that.
Okay.
I'm not dismissing that. But what I'm saying is there were other things that he did or that he contributed to the world prior to, right? All of that stuff that happened that actually were positive for us and the world. I mean, how does a man such as Hitler get Man of the Year
on Time Magazine?
Right? So like there was something going on that, right?
I mean, he got voted.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like if he even said it that way, people would have heard it a little differently.
Yeah.
A little differently. But again, he has no filters. So it's just like, bam, which again, that's why people are like, oh, he's on the spectrum because he has no filter and he just says whatever but it's like, I mean, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just like, I don't know.
But I mean, what does that even mean? Is that just means that, so people are waiting for like some sort of excuse of why he said it the way that he said it, right?
I don't know if people are waiting for an excuse, but from what he says, from what he said on the thing, I'm just going based on what he said. I guess there's lots of people who are saying that he's on the spectrum because of, I guess, how they've seen, because of his communication skills and how he presents himself and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which again, I, as a clinician, wouldn't be able to diagnose. Again, I could see someone and see someone's actions and kind of, be like, like there's like, I can note things in my head of like, okay, noted, I see that. Okay, I know what that, okay, yeah, I hear that. Yep, okay, that could be that. And because I'm always doing that, like every day. So like, but to just from watching the news and stuff like that and watching podcasts be like, yep, that's what he had. Like,
that's interesting. It just it seems as
I'm
though
not doing that. Somebody else can, but I'm not.
It seems as though most humans are like almost like wired to like basically everybody's just wanting everybody else to cater to them in a subconscious way. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think for some people it's subconscious and for some people it's not.
Some people, what do you mean not?
Meaning, so they know that they want to fucking be catered to, and
Oh,
it's very
they'll
like,
just say, yeah,
yeah,
fucking, yeah. But either
or they
way,
expect people to cater to them.
right. But either way, there's a lot of people out there that are just like, no matter what information is coming in, if it's not, if whoever's saying that information doesn't know every detail about them and is not saying it in the precise fucking way, then I'm going to take it however the fuck I want to take it. There's a lot. Would you agree that there's people out there like this I mean,
Wait, say it again. I'm sorry.
so if Kanye's saying whatever he's saying, the way that he's saying it, right? Do you think it could be that people are taking it this way, like in a negative way, because he's not specifically catering, like the way that you said it,
Yeah, he doesn't cater to anybody.
right?
But that goes back with the no filter. He just has no
Right.
filter. He just.
But maybe this is a good thing for society.
I don't really think he. Yeah. Again, who.
Because hold on, let me go a little bit. Like back in the beginning of America, 1770, 275 years ago or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were pretty eloquent back then. They spoke very clearly. English was a high priority, right? And even back then, they had ways of like just cutting to the chase. Like, this is what it is. Like, the way that the Constitution was written in their minds at that time was a very fucking blunt, direct way, right? But now I feel like there's been so many words that have been invented since then, and like all these like emotions, and there's so many people, and like everybody feels a different way because everybody's in an individual, which okay. But it's like it's just this big mix, and wouldn't it be refreshing if we could just be like, yeah, that's it, and it doesn't matter that you didn't say it the way that I like saying it, you said it, and just everybody's picking out all the little things around the actual facts. Like most headlines are not about what the actual thing happened. You got to read the whole fucking article, dig in somewhere in the fucking middle towards the end and find out actually what fucking happened. The headline is all emotional, right? And everybody plays into this. It's like a fucking trick. It's like a psychological trick that's happening right now. And wouldn't it be a little bit better and refreshing if we just had some leaders at the top that were just like, boom, this is it. Elon Musk, for example, right?
I think it's refreshing for you, and for other individuals who probably think like you. Yeah, sure. It's not refreshing for everybody. Some people don't want
to actually get things
either
done and know the facts.
Or not that they don't want to. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe they're just not ready to. Maybe they're, there's like a lot going on there. Again, everyone's so
Right.
fucking different.
Right, but
It's
so
like,
as a society, should we lean more towards like digging in and finding the fucking truth of whatever the fuck it is and the source of whatever it is, or should we lean towards, oh well, it could be this, it could be that, let's just stay in the middle and never figure it out? Because that's where I feel like we're at right now.
right. It's so.
Because you can't go this way too far, because then you're right. If you can't go this way too far, then that's why they have right and left.
Right.
Right? But the good place to be is right in the middle, balanced. Okay, how do you get anything fucking done? How do you make any decisions?
Well, this is the thing, though. I think so this is not. This is why I keep saying like this. This doesn't work for every area or all aspects of
Right.
of life.
Okay.
Like I think it does
Listen.
in some, and then it doesn't in some others.
All right, but
So,
all right, let's just create the scenario here. We're not talking about relationships, right? We're not talking about marriages or impersonal things. We are talking about, we have a country with 350 million people in it, right? Which, first off, is way too many people to be even a country. We're designed, human beings are designed for tribes of like 150 at max, right? So mentally, it's like we're all fucked up there. But that's another story. But when you're talking about getting to the bottom of things as a society, that's what I'm talking about. Like, whether it's government or just at a top level of like finding out the fucking truth about something, right? Wouldn't it be better to just say it? And then this person says their opinion, and then they just have a conversation, and it's, nobody gives a. Then you just put all the emotions aside and just have the fucking conversation, and that's what's kind of going on, I think. But people don't like it because it's not catering to them, right? Am I going off on a rant here?
No,
Or?
yeah, it's not something that they're used to. Basically, it's
Right,
not the norm for them. It's not
right.
how they communicate in life. It's not what they hear. It's not what they've heard. It's not what they, I mean, I don't know. To me, this is I don't do the whole entire like, well, we should be as a society doing it this way. I'm like, I just feel like the whole point of like living in this world also and like being in a society is that we all are different and things get done differently depending on who, like everyone
Agreed.
has
Okay.
different brain. I don't want to
Yeah.
live, to be honest, me personally, I don't want to live in a world where everyone is doing the same thing.
Well, no. Who said that?
But it would be in terms of if society as a whole, right, were to all do it this way, and this is how it was pertaining to this certain
But
thing.
that's how we're doing it right now.
How are we doing it right now?
We're all, or
No,
there's a
not
large
all.
majority of
Okay,
people.
but don't say all. It's not
Okay,
it's
okay.
not the whole world. I'm talking about I don't want there to be a society or a world where as a whole we are all doing the same thing. I think that that's just like how am I
Well,
going to
yeah, I
grow?
mean that's never going to happen. That's
Just
impossible.
fucking
But
boring.
it can be compartmentalized within different countries. Like right now, just one little example. Everybody's like, "Fucking Kanye likes fucking Hitler." Like your mom. Yeah.
Well, not
All right.
everybody.
So
Some people, because
there's a lot of people.
many people though also don't. Just what I'm doing is just don't generalize and don't and because when you say words like always or everyone, then it like gets into because it's not everyone. It's not.
Okay. And then we're back in the middle, and then
Well,
nothing.
it's not everyone though. It's not.
It's not
A
everyone.
majority of
But
people,
we wouldn't be.
maybe.
But
I guess.
listen, why are we having this conversation right now about Kanye?
Because the whole fucking world is talking about it.
Oh, the
Wait a
whole
minute.
world?
Wait a minute. I said the whole world is talking about it. I didn't say what they're talking about, though, in regards to Kanye. I didn't say, I don't know if they're talking about it in terms of, oh, fuck him, or if they're talking about it in terms of, oh, actually, I
Hold
kind
on.
of hear what he's saying. Or,
This morning, I told you, or last night, I told you that I heard one podcast that was actually defending Kanye, like not defending
not
him, but
defending,
like, but just
trying
like,
to
like,
understand where he's coming from.
yeah,
Right.
like translating the
Yes.
situation,
Okay, so
right?
that would mean that the whole world
but
isn't.
but hold on, but you were surprised. You were kind of like, "Whoa, really? Okay, who is it?" Right? And then I told you, right? And but the initial reaction was
I
that
wasn't surprised because it was crazy that somebody was like also thinking like us. I just was surprised because I didn't think that you were going to say that. So I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Wow. All right.
okay. All right. But can you admit that that we are probably one of not a handful of podcasts out there right now that are actually sitting here trying to like analyze the situation and actually show that Kanye has said some valid things that may have gotten taken out of context. Like, there's probably only a handful of podcasts that are actually like saying this. Most podcasts are jumping on this train right now and saying, "I can't believe this fucking idiot." Like, where did your mom get that information from? Of like
I mean,
insane.
not
What
a
did she? What was her
podcast,
word?
but
What was the
I'm
word
sure
she
the
used?
I'm sure the news,
Right.
right? That's
Right.
where, but we know that the news.
So
says
what
that.
yes. So what I'm saying is like, all right, maybe what we're really talking about here is the media, right? Because I agree with you. You travel around, you talk to people, And once you can have an individual conversation with anybody about any of these things, Kanye, anybody else, government, whatever, you can actually have, for the most part of what I've experienced, you can have a logical conversation with most people about things. You may disagree or whatever, but it's not like some crazy heightened emotional fucking thing. For the most part, there are some people that are like that. Where does that come from? That comes from, it's a top-down situation. The media is putting this out, right? A lot of people get their information around the world of what's going on in the world from the media. So these people in the media need to be held at a higher level, of more responsibility. Did you know journalism is in the Constitution? That's where like it's on the same lines of like freedom of speech, where they have a specific role in the society to put out factual, truthful information, right? And they are not. They are not presenting it to people properly, right?
So Elon Musk airing out those emails would be
In my
the
eyes,
proper way of airing out information.
that's
I'm
a
just
lot
asking.
better than what's been happening, I would say. Here it is. This is what I
Well, I mean,
found.
right in that situation, you can't really. It's like they're emails from
Yeah,
fucking.
these are facts. This is
So
what
I don't know
happened.
what to tell you, but this is what it
Yeah,
is.
you do something with this, guys. Figure this out.
It actually happened, right?
And we can get into that too. This is what I'm saying. I think it's starting to happen, but it is a new thing for society when you have when we're clearly going through like this like transition, right? Where these types of people are somehow floating to the top, and their mouthpieces are louder than everybody else's. I don't know if there's a universal reason, some undertone or something, but I always think like when things are happening at big scales and everybody knows about it, like there's a purpose for that. It's meant to be, and we're supposed to learn things from these situations, right? And I I think it might be better, but nobody knows that because they're scared, because we've been so in this world of like getting fed information. Now the whole thing's like coming unraveled, and everybody's like all emotional, like, hold on,
Yeah.
it's not safe anymore. I thought I could trust CNN. I thought I could trust MSNBC or whatever the fuck it is, but now they're realizing, shit, maybe I can't. What do I do? Where do I get my
Yeah, it's
information
getting
from?
crazy.
Oh my God, who do I
Well,
look to? Who do I
things
trust?
definitely are unraveling. Well, I think also because, right? I mean, even if I just look at, let's say, like the presidents before Trump, we'll say, right? And even now with Biden, but um, and I'm also not I'm not saying that I think that Trump always like said the truth,
Not a Trump
but
supporter.
right, I'm not right. But I think that obviously a lot of that comes from these individuals who are in these big positions, right? These leaders of the world, whatever, right? Presidents, stuff like that, all the whatever. I mean, they are the ones that hide probably the most information possible, right? In terms of what's really going on behind the scenes. None of us know any of that.
Right.
Nor will we, I think, really ever know half the fucking shit that's really going on behind the scenes. But they definitely don't tell us the truth. And in their minds, they don't tell us the truth because, well, they're trying to keep everyone, let's not
Yeah.
cause this, let's not cause that, da, da, da.
It's
We're
kind of
gonna
a
keep
psychological
everyone
thing.
like everyone, like managed and okay and da 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 da. We don't want to, start getting everybody crazy and in a frenzy because then we'll start getting riots and da 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 and all this
And on
stuff.
the other side,
So they
people are
then
like actually like, well, we don't need to know that. You are keeping us safe. Okay, thank you. I'm just going to go about my life now.
right. So then what happens is then when you get someone like an Elon who just put it on blast through the emails,
Like, hold on, that's not the right route.
and then people are like, and
You can't do
I can
that.
guarantee you, people are probably also looking at him like this fucking guy, da 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 da.
Yeah,
When it's
yeah.
like all he did was just simply just release emails that were happening. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I think that that's a pretty big thing of information that he put out there. It's huge, actually. But Right. Like that's not being. Why is that's not even being talked about that
This is
much?
very interesting that you bring this up because now I'm starting to see the picture of where this all began, right? Like, so first there was Edward Snowden, who is still
He's still
like
a
wanted in
yeah.
America, stuck in Russia, right? Because of why? Because he told us about all the secret shit that everybody kind of subconsciously knew was going on, but everybody thought the government was doing it. They were keeping it secret because it's for our protection. And okay, I'm gonna go about my life. You're taking care of that. I'm gonna go take care of my family, right?
This
And,
is
and then it's like Julian Assange was even before that, where he released the videos of the people in the helicopters fucking shooting journalists and shit. And both of these people are ousted from the United States, wanted as criminals, right?
that's about to be. In all honesty, I think that it's like this is why I don't know what's probably going on in Kanye West's life right now, but I feel like I'm telling you right now, like if he somehow ends up in some kind of a Russian prison or he's somewhere else or he dies. I really hope that everybody then can see this.
No, no, this is a
Because I'm like, I, like, I like, and I'm by far a fucking what do they call those conspiracy theorist? But for God's sakes, I mean the connection is so like easy to make for me in that situation.
right, but these people like Trump and Kanye are so high profile, and they like put out their daily information to the world. They like just open about everything that like if
They can't
something
do it
did
with
happen,
yeah.
like Kanye's already said it. Like
Yeah, he even put
he
it on
said
like he
things
was
like
they're
listen,
trying to kill me, put me in prison. Da, da,
I'm
da,
gonna be, this could be it, like, so if anything happens, you know that he didn't fucking kill himself. You know that he
right,
didn't fucking
right.
do an.
Kanye West ends up dead in his
I mean
apartment. It's like, guys, come on.
that could be the ultimate part of it. That could be the ultimate fucking break the society down. It was if Kanye ends up dead from like a drug overdose in his fucking in some motel or some shit,
Yo,
right?
that would be
Like
crazy.
then everybody would be like, "Holy shit, everything that he's been saying is fucking true."
Or they wouldn't
Or maybe not, yeah.
because the media has made him look so out there that then people may even believe the story of like, oh well, see, maybe he was on drugs.
Right.
That's what he was doing.
And the reality of how things work with like social manipulation is like you don't have to get everybody on board. You only have to get like a certain percentage of people to believe the story, and then they kind of put it out there, and it depends. If you got like all the media saying it, then everybody's just like, well, all the different media stations are saying the same thing,
Right.
so I guess it's true. So you could just have control over all the media companies or something, or most of the media companies, and 80% of the population could be like, what the fuck is going on? But it won't fucking matter
Right.
because they control the
They've
narrative,
already, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think as a society, bottom line with all this conversation, we can move on to something else if you want to talk about Elon Musk, but is I think we all have to hold our media establishments accountable for their actions, which Elon is doing.
That's what he, yeah.
For his own company. He's shitting on his own company that he bought, but he's trying to like do the Twitter 2.0, right? And say 2.1 fucked up, and look what they did. They're communicating with the White House directly. The White House was telling them to censor certain
shit.
fucking accounts, specific accounts. They have all kinds of emails back and forth they had special departments that dealt with this.
That's why if you go on Instagram and you posted something and it got shut down, like on Twitter or something, it's because of that.
This is not a conspiracy anymore.
Right? It's because their administrations, Trump actually and Biden's administrations, were speaking to Twitter, and Twitter's employees in Twitter were basically working with them and censoring the shit that they didn't want to be put out there because they don't want the narrative to go a certain way and blah blah blah, blah and stuff like that. You got like the emails say that.
Democrats and Republicans. Doesn't
Which is
fucking matter. They've
wild.
been
So I'm
doing this
like,
shit. And who knows? I mean, clearly, if they're doing this shit with like social media companies, they've been doing this with CNN and
everything.
Fox and whatever for fucking years.
Everything.
They have people that like live at the fucking White House, doesn't matter what the fuck the administration is, and that's their goddamn job, is to communicate and tell them what to say, what not to say.
Yeah.
I mean, this is huge. If you hold on, let me just recap for everybody if they don't know what I'm talking about. Is Elon Musk released just the other day a shitload of emails and files from before he owned the company, and he found all this information out that
The
there are.
Biden and Trump administration were speaking to Twitter, and they were basically asking to censor certain things that
And
had
if
to do with their kid.
and listen, if you're just hearing about this right fucking now,
Then
and this podcast probably won't be released until like Tuesday or Wednesday or something, then it's still fucking happening, right? Because this is humongous. But
again, if you're hearing about it right now, it actually proves the point and shows that the media only talks about and puts out stuff that they want you to fucking put out. How
Right.
come I had no idea about what the fuck was going on in China until I saw the videos?
that's another thing.
For Christ's sake! Oh my
I mean,
God!
well, these
like,
are all right. So now we're getting to the back-to-back shit that's been
Yeah.
happening this fucking week. So the Kanye West thing happened, and the fucking Elon Musk drops these bombs on Twitter, right? And then I mean, this has been going on for like over a week now, but there's been fucking humongous protests in China, right?
It's just
One in
not good.
particular is at the Apple facility where they build Apple iPhones that you're probably using right now to listen to this fucking podcast. And they were protesting and rioting at the Apple place. You know why? Because they are sick of the draconian COVID fucking measures and rules that they've put in China. Like, it's so bad that like you come to fucking work, they're fucking testing you right there. If you have COVID, they're literally grabbing you in hazmat suits and putting you in entrainment camps or locking you in your house. That's what's going on over there right now.
Which is so wild. It's like beyond wild.
And we've already all figured out, because pretty much everybody's gotten COVID, that it's not that crazy. And they have vaccines over there, same shit as here. So this is what's going on, and this is the domino effect as well. If factories start shutting down out there, we buy the majority of our shit from fucking China, which is probably fucking stupid, but we do. Yeah. So our economy's fucked up. It's going to get more fucked up because the fucking factories are shutting down, because those people are actually fucking fighting the revolution for real, because they are sick of getting thrown in fucking holes because they have COVID.
Wild. It's wild.
I mean, man. It's a lot. It's a lot going on, and we all have to like really recognize and jump into reality and see that these things are happening. It's factual. There is no medium balanced situation here. Oh, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. No. Hunter Biden's laptop story on Twitter was specifically shut the fuck down. Yeah. On Instagram, Facebook, fucking Twitter, any other fucking social media, because the White House said so. And you know who was in the White House, or who was trying to get into the White House at the time? Fucking Biden, right? And the Democratic establishment fucking communicated to Twitter because everybody was shitting on fucking Trump at the time. Right, even though, here's the other thing too. Right. Trump at the time was actually saying it's a crime. You journalists are fucking criminals for not putting this out into the world. Yeah. Right. He literally said that then. I remember that. And maybe it's about time we get, like, this is what I was saying before. It's like yes, fucking Trump says things shitty and stupid and whatever. Kanye says, but like they're not lying to you.
Well, I think Trump. I don't know.
Maybe Trump might be manipulating a little.
He
Kanye
says
West is not lying.
I don't think Kanye has any. Yeah, I mean, like,
He's no
what's the reason?
purpose. Yeah,
What's the purpose? Like, the guy could live his
Trump
life.
has, I think, more of like an ego. But like this is neither here nor there. But what I'm saying is like maybe it's time for us to be okay with something like that. Honestly, 'cause I don't know. I've heard things. I'm not sure. DeSantis, like, but everything I hear that guy saying, I'm like, that sounds logical. And the way he says it is kind of more
Way.
eloquent. But who knows? Even that guy could be some sort of like fucking
Pedophilia
puppet.
ring.
No. Well,
freaking-
no. He
I
could.
think that should happen.
Well, who knows? Yeah, that could be. He could be some sort of puppet placed in there to like kind of calm the people down. Just say what they want to hear, and then get in the office, and we'll just continue doing what we were doing before. You know, we'll get back to censoring. But you just gotta say the things that people want to hear very nicely, better than Trump and Kanye. You get in there, then we'll get back to normal and not tell them anything.
Right.
So have you noticed, like most presidents up until Trump or whatever, they'd be saying all kinds of things, right? And everybody always wonders, like, what happens? Obama said a bunch of things that he was going to do that he never fucking did. Every president always says these things, and then all of a sudden they become president. And they're just like, can't talk about that anymore. Sorry, sorry, I tried my best. Like, what happens? Who are they talking to in there? What they're saying? They're
People
probably
that are higher than them.
they're saying, well, listen, the fucking the Twitter fucking secretary over there is like, listen, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
We're controlling all the
controlling
information that
everything,
goes
so
out
shut
there.
the fuck
So you
up.
shut the fuck up, or we're gonna tell everybody that you fucking fucked little boys.
Yep.
That's what's fucking going on. And that's been going on for years.
So ridiculous.
And then I normally wouldn't even fucking say this shit, but now it's getting to the point where it's like, that's probably kind of it, maybe. You know, I'm not like, I always try to like not cross over that conspiracy line, at least with my voice.
Really?
For the most part, like I'll say things very like cautiously usually, but like this is like, I could say this, like I just said this, and does it sound conspiracy-ish, or does it seem like it's potential? Oh my God.
In terms of like what's happening right
Like
now.
what I
with
just said,
everything?
like when a president gets in there, somebody talks to him and says, "Listen, this is what's really going on."
But I feel like, I don't know, to me, I feel like that's just like, how would people not think that?
Everybody, no, well, this is what I'm saying.
Like, that is like,
But everybody thinks it. But now, because of these emails,
the
it's
president
like,
isn't in charge of things. We know that. Like, everyone knows how things are really run.
right. But see, and this is the other thing. In Trump's instance, I think he actually was, and he did make decisions.
Well,
And that's why everybody fucking hated
That's
it.
because it's Trump, and Trump's not letting. Is not going to let anyone tell him. No one could control him.
Which,
That's
in
the
a
thing.
way, this is a good thing. In a way,
He's not controllable.
we don't. He doesn't.
Which is scary for a lot of people in those, especially in the higher ups or in that chain or whatever.
Or just for regular citizens, even.
Right, yeah, but especially for those people, because if they've had a specific way of doing things and a specific narrative that they want to write or whatever it is, and they have someone like Trump, no way,
It's going in there. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Right, but when they have a Biden or an Obama or a even a,
Let's just keep things calm.
even-
Whatever
even-
was going on before,
even-
let's keep
right,
doing that.
Even JFK, which again, people,
JFK made some changes, but yeah, that's probably why he's dead.
right, but he's dead. He was assassinated.
Yeah, my whole point is like with these new emails, all that stuff becomes like,
Well, we'll see. I think that this is actually all going to get swept under the rug somehow. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they whoever they are really good at doing what they do. So I would be extremely surprised if this actually went so far as to like, and if it does, like, yeah, I just don't see it happening. I just see it kind of getting swept under the rug. I see
When
the
we talk,
media
hold
changing
on.
the narrative because even they did already. They did already. I think I
Yeah.
told you,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
The fucking one of the articles, when you look this up online, one of the article's titles is like focusing on
Oh,
the
the employees or
employees
something.
and the workplace versus the actual emails that came out. And it's like, what? Like, why
Yeah,
are
yeah.
you? I'm confused.
Why did this person release this?
Yeah,
Or
I'm like,
who gives a fuck who released it?
right. We're going to have to wrap up.
Are we?
Well,
Why?
I think I'm just like getting,
Oh, you're.
I think I'm just fading.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting antsy. It's 4:40.
Man, I thought this was like really a great podcast.
Oh, that it was on here. It is a good podcast.
Yeah, yeah. Lots of information. One last thing. When you're talking about swept under the rug, right? What does that mean? Like, what does that mean?
I
That
don't
means
think
like the
I
media,
don't
like
think
a
the media. It's about
like
the media. I
like
don't.
what?
It's
Like
swept under the rug,
news
meaning
stations
media.
are not going to
All
cover it
the only
because
people
Twitter's
who I
covering
think
it.
are gonna
Twitter's
cover.
covering it.
That's it. They're the only people who I think are going to cover it because of
Well,
the
this,
fucking situation.
but
But in Instagram, no, they're controlled by also the fucking administrations.
right.
Okay, a Facebook, hello, no.
Right, but
So
this
I
could be a
mean,
humongous shift, like where people are like, "Well, why isn't like it's very obvious." Like if you're on Twitter, like, and then you don't see it elsewhere, you're like, "Oh, they probably got the same situation going on over there," you
well,
know?
they most
And
likely
then,
do.
so why would anybody stay on Instagram anymore?
Why would anybody
What?
do lots of things, Joe?
Well, I'm just saying, like,
I mean, no, I hear what you're
anybody
saying.
that
But I mean,
like
like, why
under,
would anybody do lots of things? Why would anybody choose
but
one
I'm
thing
just
over
saying,
another?
like, it could be a slight shift, a teeter,
Could be,
where
could not be.
maybe Twitter and Rumble start becoming the main things as
I don't
opposed
know.
to
Yeah,
Instagram
I
and
don't know.
YouTube, right? And we'll see over the next year or so if that happens. But I think that's the shift that's happening right now.
I think
And
it's trying to happen because some individuals also want it to happen.
yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
And you know when like they're really going to lose control is like if those things start taking over and people trust them, which as they should because they just give you information and let you figure it out, sort
Right.
through it. Then these establishment media companies, CNN, Fox, all these other things, those will start fading away or people will just block it out and ignore it. It won't even mean anything. Like before, you know how like you'd have like 10 years ago, you'd have a podcast or something and they'd be talking about all kinds of like truth and probably the same shit we're talking about right now, but like it would never get anywhere. That's kind of what I think in like a few years those media companies will be. And also as like older people die off, like who the fuck watches news now? Old people, right?
Like all the baby boomers. Yeah.
Right. And those people are getting pretty old now. They're getting in their 70s and 80s now, right? So that's like really the last stronghold for
I
manipulation
actually think there's
of
more.
population.
I think the majority is, yes, baby boomers, but I definitely think there's been a huge increase in like the millennial population also, like really like because it's the woke culture now also too, you know. So I think
But I
that.
think even the woke culture has been like manipulated. It's like
Yes, no,
they
that's what I'm kind of saying. Like I think they're also a big population of people who also watch the news and who also kind of focus on what the news says. And stuff like that
oh
too as well.
maybe yeah, but they're younger. They probably get their information from fucking Twitter. That's why everybody's having a shit fit that fucking Elon fucking bought the thing. Because he's gonna do things like this.
All right.
All right. Anyways, you're done. Thanks, guys. This will be out probably Tuesday, Wednesday.
Why do you have to even
Well,
say that?
because we need to start doing that because we talk about things like Sunday and then like this doesn't like we won't even say happy Thanksgiving or like anything like that because it's not here yet or we say things that have it's we just gotta this is the day we're recording on Sunday.
Yes.
It's gonna be out on Tuesday or Wednesday
Okay.
because I'm a one-man band.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, keep following us at Keanvenient Truth.
Yes, we're on Twitter.
We're on Twitter.
Convenient. We're on YouTube as
We're
well.
on YouTube.
Where you can all these podcasts. Although the podcast will be dropped on like Tuesday or Wednesday, these videos are the video podcast is instantly out there.
Yeah.
So you actually don't have to wait. But by the time you
Hear
hear
this, it's already the podcast will be out. So.
But for the next time, you can
Yeah.
instantly get it. But we record on Sundays, so usually it's posting on, Sunday evening or afternoon on YouTube, Facebook. Sometimes we do Instagram and Twitter. So there you go.
right.
All right.
Bye, everyone. Have a great Sunday and a great week. Because when you hear this, like Joe said,
See, that's what I'm saying. See,
it'll be the week.
That's
So
a
have
great example.
All that
Because you
stuff.
just have a great Sunday, and they're getting it. And it's like
And
it's
we'll
fucking
see you
Wednesday.
next week.